Nobody does it better than the Watts Podcast Network. Just that simple. Yeah, just that simple. I'm gonna be real. Y'all can probably, if you look at one of my eyes, it's a little red, and I think that just means I need a vacation. I need the kind of vacation where I'm on a beach and I'm getting massaged by a beautiful woman wearing less than I can really say on air right now, and maybe there's some mud, maybe there's some oil involved. I don't know, but a nice drink in my hand. I need that kind of vacation. And the problem is, I don't want to, it's not even a problem. I don't want to do it by myself. I like to share the wealth. Here on Built Different, I like to share the wealth. I like to share the gems that I know, the life hacks, the secrets, even my sometimes crazy perspectives. I like to share those. And I would love to share this experience with my homeboys, with my bros, my friends, my male friends. But there's a slight problem. And what I've noticed is, when women go on vacation, I think women do an excellent job at this. When women go on vacation, every woman plays a role in that planning. So when there's a girls' trip, you have the woman who is planning the itinerary. You have somebody who's booking everything. Every idea that comes up is booked. Women have a tight schedule. You have the women who are responsible for bringing the black girl sunscreen and the medicine and making sure everybody has enough swimsuits, packs enough undergarments, all of that. Every woman plays a role. The itinerary is down packed all the way down to the second. These, women know what they're doing every hour on vacation. And they're planners. Y'all are just excellent planners. Men, when we go on vacation, it's, we pick a place, and then that's pretty much it. Everyone's responsible for their flights, and we'll have a place. We'll have a place, and then it's like, all right, well, we're just gonna show up. We'll find a liquor store. We'll find somebody with extracurriculars. We'll find a club, and that's it. And I've been on fun guy trips, but I think on a bigger level, I see an issue, and I think this is a word, a hot button word, intention. And it brings me to something deeper than vacation. It brings me to friendship, period. And that's why I think this episode, I'm just saying, damn, I miss my dogs. This is about the male loneliness epidemic. Now, if you're listening to this, again, welcome to Built Different. I'm Keith B. This is like Black NPR, we're just being real calm. I had a nice bagel this morning, a little cream cheese on it, a few sesame seeds. It's very calm. I try to be informative, try not to be too crazy, but I don't have the answer. So if you're listening to this saying, well, okay, by the end of this episode, all me and my guys, we're going to be, we're going to have it figured out. No. I'm just here to discuss something that as a man I've seen, I've felt. And, people are right. There is this male loneliness epidemic, and, you see it. I'm going to start off. I was talking to two different friends. They don't know each other, and both are in fraternities. One's in a Divine Nine fraternity, so I won't say which one, and the other is in non-Divine Nine. And both of them talked about recently losing frat brothers, and like I said, they don't know each other. This was not a candid camera moment. Matter of fact, this was God's candid camera moment. They both talked about losing a fraternity brother and getting together with their frat brothers as they were celebrating the life of the one who passed on. And this is something that comes up a lot. Question, or not even a question, one of those floating ideas that comes up a lot where people say, man, we got to get together more often. We really got to meet up more often. And both of them said that they had that conversation with their frat brothers, like, hey, even if it's just once a month and we're getting together and just grabbing a beer and all of that. And the thing about it is, life happens, life gets in the way. But I will say this, going back to, the trip, the vacations, I've seen, and this is, I like to make light generalizations. I've seen that women seem to be more intentional about planning their hangouts, planning friendship time. Yeah, me and my girls, we have, every Wednesday we go to this bar and, we get oysters. They have happy hour oysters and we have wine and, girl dinner and all that. It seems like there's this regular routine. I've seen women, on Tuesdays, me and my girls, we tap in and we have a call. And I'm gonna be real. Guys, we don't do that. And again, not everybody, but there seems to be a lack of intention when it comes to that. And I almost see it as I'm going to step out for a second. One thing I hear about, the difference between men and women, and this is not a gender wars thing. I try to stay away from the gender wars. It is a never-ending war, but I want to give credit because women will say that men, we make friends so much more easily. And I've seen it. You're out at a bar and you're watching a game and it's like, man, this is a good game. And the guy next to you says, I know. And then for the next 3 hours, you would think that, these two guys are best friends who go way back, been to the war together, all of that. You would think that they've just have had this years-long friendship and we're just bonding over, a game. We're bonding over, something that happened. We're at a bar and we're just talking about, I don't know, our love for our love for gin and tonic. I don't know. It can be anything. We can see something crazy happen outside. It's like, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I know, man. You ever seen something like that? No. And then 30 minutes pass, we still talking. Yeah, that was dope. Okay, yeah, we should get up. And it's not always like that. But on the flip side, I've also heard that women are very much more cautious about who they befriend. And it's like, you go to a party and the couples there and the guys are real quick to be like, oh yeah, man, we should get up. I love that. I love fishing. I love video games, whatever it is. And the women's, they say, okay, yeah, girl, and then they go back and it's like, I don't know about her. And I'm not trying to attack y'all. I'm not trying to talk about any type of cattiness, for lack of a better word. But on the flip side of that, I see that there seems to be this upfront, how should I say, this short-term ease that we have with making friends as men, but almost a long-term difficulty in maintaining those strong bonds. Whereas it seems like women, it's almost like y'all haze each other. I don't know whether it's to your face or not. Am I wrong? Do y'all haze women when y'all meet them?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to, and that's what I said. I don't want to
No judgment.
No judgment.
It's true. Energy is everything.
Oh, I like that. Energy is everything. I'm gonna write that down.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, and they do say that women are like the CIA, right? If you want to find somebody.
Oh yeah.
If you want to find somebody, if you want to look up somebody, I remember before Obama went in and got Osama bin Laden, they said, hey, if you really want to find them, get a couple women, a Facebook account, and you good. You're going to find him in 2 seconds. Girl, you're going to find where he works. You're going to find, all his children, the women he's dated. You're going to find what he likes to eat. You're going to know all of that. And so it's like y'all y'all are better vetters. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that where, I've had women in my life go, I don't know about that person. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, with that pickiness, with that discernment, possibly, it seems like, on the front end, it's again, we'll call it a struggle or a haze, however you want to call it. But on the back end, we see almost a greater return. Seems like there's stronger bonds. And I'm not saying that us guys, we don't have our close friendships. I have my boys, I would shout them out, but I'm not gonna shout y'all out. Y'all don't, some of y'all in relationships, I don't need y'all feeling yourselves and then getting in trouble with your girl and all that. Because I got stories for days. But anyway, I think that there's something we could learn from that intentionality, that initial discernment. And it's not even to say that, there's something wrong with bonding in the moment over just life moments. When you're at like I say, you're at a sporting event, y'all are having these commonalities, rooting for the same team. It's not to say that can't happen, but, I think, guys, we really just need to work on, just keeping those friendships strong and not even, that might be subjective, because I have friends who, I talk to once every 3-4 months. But those are some of my closest friends. All right, let's talk about it. No, seriously, that's exactly what Jordan does on So About That. Whether her conversation is breaking down why nostalgia is a scam, figuring out if we're bad at relationships, or asking why activism has turned into a digital performance. This podcast is where culture, curiosity, and a little bit of side-eye come together. Hosted by Jordan Hora, So About That is for the thinkers, the overanalyzers, and the ones who love a good debate over brunch. They're building community, challenging beliefs, and probably exposing a few contradictions of their own along the way. It's all love, though. Listen to So About That anywhere you get your podcast. And so, I'm not, I don't know what the definition of a strong friendship is. It might look different for everyone. There are people who talk every day. I have a friend who used to talk to one of her best friends. I mean, it seemed like it wasn't even speed dial. It just seemed like they had a chip implanted in their ear, and they could just, they could almost sense, when the other needed to talk. They were so intertwined, and it also just brings me into, so you have the friends, and I talk about the two separate friends who lost fraternity brothers. And it's like, okay, well, when we do actually get up or link up or connect, you hang out, what are we doing? Does that matter? I've seen times where I've had great times just hanging with one of my boys, and all we did was just listen to music. We didn't really touch on anything, but we just had that quality time together of just listening to music and having a moment where life is right there. It's easy and such, and we're not talking about anything heavy. We are just unwinding and just focused on something else together. And so, does that quality of the quality time matter?
I think it does. I'm going to say that even if it's just being with real people, I think is we live in such a digital forward age now.
Yes.
And we're going to, AI, computers, smartphones, all of that is here to stay. It's not, it's not going away. It's become a part of our life. But we have to be more intentional about real social connections in digital ages. I think when you are from a female point of view, I love like linking up on a patio. We be like, what patio are we getting ready to go sit up on?
Who house we at?
And, we get us a drink. And for those who don't drink, we normalize getting mocktails. We don't shame anybody in our group. And we talk about the dates we're getting ready to go on that night, or, whatever. And it's just good social interaction. And what I've noticed is about halfway through the margarita and the chips and salsa, no one has their phone up. We're like, we are in a world where we're really engaged with each other. And I think even from a male point of view, that is needed, because men can escape through their video games. They can escape through whatever technology that they have on their computers. But are you really connecting with someone? Are you looking someone in the eye?
So I want to ask y'all this. Do y'all feel comfortable crying in front of your good women friends?
My best friends. Some people are associates.
Associates. And
so when you talk about that energy that we have in that CIA vet, Okay, call me Chelsea Gabbard. We can, as a woman, we gonna find some stuff. We gonna investigate. But some are associates, and you need associates. Like everybody is not friends.
Yes.
And it's a level of discernment that comes with age where you'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna open up, and I need to shed some tears. And yes, I've had moments where we went to the beach and we heard the Pacific Ocean, and we sat on the beach, we journaled, we cried, we talked, we had therapy. It was great.
Romantic.
But those are very, very close knit group of people.
Yeah.
But what about from the male point of view? Because, people see men cry and they don't like it.
So, and that's another thing too, because I've seen anecdotal studies and maybe a study or two. I'm not going to quote any, but like I said, I've heard stories of women say that they value their friendships almost more than their romantic relationships.
I'm gonna say
no?
My man, I want my man.
You want your man, okay.
And I need my man to be my friend.
You want to know my man.
And I need my man to be my friend, and he my man, and that value is gonna be me and him before me and my friend.
Okay.
So some women could say that, but I feel like in the hierarchy of your relationship, it should be God, your man, then your kids, family members, close family members, and then some friends. I don't know all the women and what they was going through, but me and my man, I want my man to be my man. I want my man to be my friend.
You know what?
I want to cry. What's the song Prince had? If I was your girlfriend.
If I was your girlfriend, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He was like, I'll just wash your hair.
Yeah. I just want to watch you get dressed.
Done.
Rest in peace, Prince.
Yes. Not because you helpless, but sometimes that's what being in love's about. So to me, if I can go to my man and tell him about my relationship with my friends, and he should be able to hold me accountable to be a good friend, hold me accountable to do all that kind of stuff. Sometimes women get in sessions where it's not healthy when we're talking, so it just depends. I'll say that. It just depends.
Everybody thinks they've got life all figured out. But are you sure about that? Join Mario and Chris as they break down the assumptions, the myths, and the surface level narratives that shape how we see ourselves and each other. Subscribe to Are You Sure About That? And rethink what you thought you knew. Listen to Are You Sure About That? Anywhere you get your podcast. You know what? I'm gonna hold that because we'll do a whole nother episode on friendship types. And to your point, we need to drop a flex bomb because she said, hold up, we're not going to say that friendship is more important than relationships. But that brings me, before we wrap this up, it brings me to, when men are getting together, what are the things that we are not saying to each other? What is that discourse that we're having? Because like you said, we can sit down all day and just vibe to the music, play video games, watch the game. We can do all that. But when it comes down to those silent moments, are we? And I can say a lot of times, while I've made effort with my friends, and when I say I, let me backtrack. While my friends and I have made effort with each other, I'm not really the talkative one, but except when I'm talking to y'all, there are those times where we do try to check in with each other, but are we really getting to the root of it? Are we? And it's not about being nosy. It's not about, you digging, all that. But like, are we really saying like, hey, bro, you good? Are you you need anything? And really just kind of holding each other to a point of, it's okay. You can. This is a safe space, and I think there needs to be more of that. And so, all of that. I just, if you take anything away from this, I would say, men, this is something we can definitely take a card out of women's books, just, really having those moments, really just checking in. And even before that, just scheduling hangouts. Like I told you about the two friends who had frat brothers who passed away. Talking about scheduling hangouts, and life is so fragile. Life is just, it's unpredictable. And so I think women do a great job of, just scheduling time of friendship. We all looking for love, but there's a lot of love that we can find in these non-intimate, these platonic relationships. And so, fellas, if you're listening, and you better be listening, especially if I know you, let's check in more. Let's schedule time outside of the group chat. I'm gonna do better. I need to do better about that too. Let's go to the bar. Let's talk. If you need to cry, you can cry on my shoulder. We still grown ass men, but crying is healthy. And we gonna plan that vacation. And we gonna plan it down to the minute like you do, like y'all do. We gonna plan it down so when we land at 10 o'clock, right? We gonna get the bottles at 11. I scheduled the massages with, I'm not even gonna say their names because I can't pronounce their names, but they're exotic names. We gonna schedule the massages with them girls. And if you're in a relationship, you can watch from afar because we're real men. What Charlamagne say? Real men don't cheat. We don't do that. So,
amen.
Again, this is Keith B, Black NPR, the Stoic Hippie. Thanks for listening. This is Built Different on the Watts Podcast Network. Please, please, please comment. Is women, do y'all value friendship more than romantic relationships, or is that just something that single women say? And I didn't say that. I'm not throwing shots. I didn't say that. Somebody in the room might have implied that. I don't know. But how important are your friendships compared to your romantic relationships? Fellas, how can we do better? So again, comment, like, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram at Built Different. Please follow us. Follow us on IG. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. And again, friendship is everything. Check in on each other. And, I'm going to keep it at that. I'm Keith B. You listen to Built Different.